Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this NFL DFS Divisional Round 2021 NFL DFS Preview Show. This podcast and live streams, whatever you want to call it, it still needs a freaking name. We got to get a name for next year. But anyway, name's going to get in the works. My name is Adam Kohn. I am your host. And I am an NFL DFS analyst and content provider here at Main Event DFS. Welcome into the Main Event DFS YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning in to this amazing live stream. Let me know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear me okay. So, it is another solo live stream today. And this is an interactive live stream. So if you have any questions, drop them over here in the YouTube chat, or feel free to tag me in the Main Event DFS Discord. Just tag me at AdamWX21. And that way I know the questions are good for the live stream. We're going to be going over both main slates here on FanDuel. Again, it'll be FanDuel for the remainder of the year. We've done a lot of DraftKings, so FanDuel for the remainder of the year. And I'm looking to get started. So we're going to talk about all four NFL DFS playoff games here for the divisional round. We're going to start with the Saturday slate, which consists of Cincinnati at Tennessee and San Francisco at Green Bay. Again, this is a live stream. It's going to cover all four games in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. I'm going to try breaking it down the same way I did the Super Wildcard weekend. I'm going to try breaking it down in terms of slate by slate. Like Super Wildcard weekend, we had the Saturday slate, the Sunday slate, and the Monday Night Showdown slate. This podcast, or live stream, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to do the entire division round, but we're going to break it down into game by game. So I'm going to go over game by game, position by position. Okay. Again, tell me in chat here if you're watching live, can you in fact hear me on the live stream? Yes or no to that? Let me know. And while we're at it, let's get the news shot out of the way. Drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way there every single one of you know every time we go live here at Main Event DFS or post any content. And follow me on Twitter at AdamWX21. Leave a comment down below. Let's get this entire live stream started. We're going to start, again, I'm going to go throughout the NFL division round. I'm going to go game by game. I'm going to go the divisional round, slate by slate, game by game, position by position. So I'll try that again a little bit slow. We're going to go main slate by main slate. There are two main slates. There's a Saturday slate and the Sunday slate. I'm going to go game by game, and then I'm going to go position by position. 4 games, 2 games on each slate. We need to do a little bit more. We need to do a little bit of a breakdown here. We're going to have to talk things through. Again, interact, drop questions, say hi, and let's get this started. We're going to start off with Cincinnati at Tennessee. Let's go over to the NFL Vegas odds for this game, ladies and gentlemen. The Vegas odds for this Cincinnati, Tennessee is a 47.5 over-under with Tennessee favored by 3.5. Realistically, not surprising. Excuse me. We'll get to all the totals in a second. San Francisco at Green Bay sets at a 47 over-under with Green Bay favored by 5.5. The Rams at the Bucks, 47.5 over-under with the Bucks favored by 3. And Buffalo at Kansas City is a 54 over-under with Kansas City favored by 1.5. All right. The biggest news of this entire Saturday slate, Derrick Henry has been activated off IR. I'm just posting over here in chat that I am live. Perfect. All right, so again, the biggest piece of news. The absolute biggest piece of news here, ladies and gentlemen, is Derrick Henry has been activated off IR. Derrick Henry is going to play. DraftKings has not priced him down. He's priced... I'm sorry, not DraftKings. So used to saying that. FanDuel has not priced down Derrick Henry. He's $9,000. He is the most expensive player on this slate. We'll get to him in a second. So I'm going to break down that analysis in a second. Joe Burrow, 7,700. Ryan Tannehill, 7,300. I think you can approach this game, and quite frankly, this entire slate, based on the quarterbacks in this game. Now, why do I say that? These two games Of the offensive potential, my opinion is this is the one we're going to see more offense from. Tomorrow's is very easy for the Sunday slate. The Sunday slate, rather easy. It's Buffalo, it's Kansas City. We'll get to that later on in this live stream. The thing with this game, Cincinnati's defense isn't that great. Tennessee's secondary is terrible. I personally just don't care. For this NFL divisional round preview for the Saturday slate, game by game, I give the offensive edge to Cincinnati and Tennessee. Why? Again, Cincinnati's defense, while they've gotten better, they're still not great. Tennessee's rushing game is probably the best in the league, or one of the top 3. So, we'll get to Mixon in a minute. I think the stacks have to come from this game. I think a lot of the chalk is going to be Rodgers plus Adams plus pick a running back, pick the tight end, DeGuara, who we'll get to. He's cheap on this slate. He's currently in my dummy lineup. Lazard and MVS, one of the running backs, DeGuara, whatever. We can't do that here, ladies and gentlemen. We just can't do it. We need to get off the chalk. I don't know how I'm leaning yet. My lean is Cincinnati's probably going to play from behind in this game. That's the games that I'm going with. I would love to go with the Joe Burrow stack. 7,700. He's going to be cheaper than Rodgers. The problem is his wide receivers are not going to be cheap. So again, we'll get to wide receivers in a second. But again, from a strategy standpoint, if we're just looking at the division round as a whole, the biggest game on the entire slate is Buffalo at Kansas City. We know that. If you look at the NFL playoffs, if you look at what was done in Super Wildcard Weekend, Buffalo was high scoring, Kansas City was high scoring, the Bucks were high scoring. We saw the blowouts. When you break it down here for the NFL divisional round and this NFL DFS preview, you have to take a stand. Now, I'm not saying Garoppolo is a bad play. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is a bad play. I'm saying from a pure strategy standpoint, ladies and gentlemen, I think you got a stack from this game. Now, people are going to go look, oh, Tannehill's facing the 32nd ranked, opposing rank for quarterbacks. Cincinnati's defense isn't that good, but they're not bad. I think the stats are way overblown. I think the perception is going to be, oh, we're just going to play Tannehill. What does Tannehill exactly have to do in this game? Like I said, I think Cincinnati has to be playing from behind. What does Tannehill have to do in this game besides game manage? He doesn't have to do anything. If we take a look at Tannehill's stats alone, just again, specific to FanDuel, when they faced the Colts, I don't even know what week this is, way back on October 31st, 23.2 FanDuel points. Then he played Houston and had 27.28. Where's the ceiling with Tannehill? I think we'll see a ceiling here. I think Tannehill is firmly in play. My favorite quarterback on the Saturday slate is Joe Burrow. We know Burrow has a ceiling. We've seen it. Burrow's got a 30-point ceiling. Now, are we going to expect him to go off for 400 or 500 passing yards? No. But if we're looking at ceiling on the slate, I think it's Joe Burrow. If you want safety, I think it's Rodgers and Tannehill. But I think Burrow has a ceiling. Now, we look at last week. He had 34 pass attempts, completed 24 of them, for 244 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And 2 rushing attempts for -2 yards. 17.56 FanDuel points. In a game that I thought was going to be big. And high scoring. It wasn't. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I still think we hit the shot with Joe Burrow. Now, again, we'll get to obviously what you should be playing on the slate. You should be playing Rodgers. You should be playing Apps. I'm not saying you don't. I'm probably not going to 20 max these slates. I haven't decided yet. If I'm 20 maxing, I'm playing all 4 quarterbacks. We'll talk about Garoppolo in a minute. But I think Burrow's my favorite quarterback overall in the slate in terms of upside. Rodgers is the next safest, followed by Tannehill and Garoppolo. Even if it's Trey Lance, I just don't care. So they Garoppolo / Lance will be my 4th ranked quarterback. Let's get to the running backs. Y'all been waiting for the Derrick Henry talk, haven't you? It's just incredible that y'all been waiting on the Derrick Henry chatting and the talking. Well, it's very simple. It's Derrick Henry. It's versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We've been playing running backs versus the Bengals all season. We're playing Derrick Henry on this slate. If you want to go and be different, you could be underweight on Derrick Henry compared to the field. He's coming off IR. I believe he's been practicing for a couple of weeks. What does he look like? How does he look in practice? We don't know if he's going to be limited. Like it could be a mix of Henry and Foreman, because Foreman hasn't been bad. If it's a split backfield, then you get 50% of the snaps for Derrick Henry, or even 40% of the snaps for Derrick Henry, and Foreman gets the other in their first game back. I think it's going to be based on how the game is going. Personally, I think it's going to be how is the game going. I think it's going to be, if the game's out of hand, do they start pulling Henry? Like, let's just say Tennessee's up 21-7 at the half. Well, maybe they start putting Foreman out there and they start draining the clock a little bit. Right? Like, it's going to be game script dependent. I don't know if Derrick Henry's getting the full workload. Yeah, and the analysis from RotoWire pretty much says here's the same thing. Derrick Henry versus Cincinnati, play him. I will be playing him. I will be building around Derrick Henry. I will tell you that right now. I'm building around Derrick Henry. I mean the chalk. I don't care. Joe Mixon is the next player that we need to talk about. Joe Mixon, we know, has a ceiling. Slowing down a little bit as of late. Excuse me. Joe Mixon on FanDuel. Again, FanDuel specific. I think for me is an easy fade at $7,800. I'd rather find the $400 and get Jamar Chase. Like I said, you can argue Tennessee's run defense is the best of the National Football League. I know, crazy. Over Tampa? Yeah, over Tampa. You can make that argument. Your secondary suspect. But Tennessee's run defense is really, really, really good. Now, with that being said, if you want to play Joe Mixon, go for it. $700 is a lot of money. I want to pay elsewhere. I would fade Joe Mixon. 2-game slate, gotta take a stand. Now, if I'm mass multi-entering, I'm probably not playing Mixon, but I'm probably not playing much of him. I'd probably cap him at maybe 10 to 15%, maybe 20%. Depends what I want in my lineups, right? So again, with that being said, Deonta Foreman, $5,500. Dontrell Hilliard, $5,100. Samaje Perine, $4,800. I have no interest in Perine. Really no interest in Hilliard unless you're going 20 max or above and you play 5 or 10% Hilliard. Foreman, I think I'd take some shots on, but I would set a rule in whatever lineup builder you're using that one of Henry, Foreman, or Hilliard. I would not play more than one running back from the same team. I would limit the running back from the same team to one. Because they'll eat into each other. And I think you cap your upside if you play more than one running back on the same team. I usually limit my running backs to one on the same team, unless, for example, it's a, it could be a special situation where we know both running backs are heavily involved, a Green Bay, a Buffalo, or Patriots, or whatever. I absolutely think that you should. I absolutely think you should set a rule. Limit your running backs to one from the same team. So, like I said, Henry for me, then Foreman, then Hilliard in that order for Tennessee. I'm not playing Jerry McNichols. Most likely, I think he's been getting phased out. So, like I said, I'll be underweight compared to the field for Joe Mixon, and I have no interest in playing Samaje Perine. Wide receivers: Jamar Chase is 8,200, T. Higgins 6,400, Tyler Boyd 5,800. Chase 1, Boyd 2, Higgins 3. The dummy lineup I've built, I can't get to Higgins and get a lineup that I like. I'm not going to not play Adams on the slate. No way. If you want upside, it's Chase and Higgins. But I think for me, it's Chase, Boyd, Higgins in that order for Cincinnati. All three wide receivers firmly in play. A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Nick Westbrook, Akine are the main three wide receivers for Tennessee. I think A.J. Brown is more of a must-play than Jamar Chase is in the slate. Yeah, I said it. I think A.J. Brown is more of a must-play than Jamar Chase is on the slate. Based on matchup, I would prefer Brown to Chase if I'm paying up in this game. If you're stacking Burrow, I'd try fitting both in. Or you could go really crazy and try Julio Jones. We know Julio has playoff experience. Nick Westbrook Akine, I think, is a fine play if you want some value on Tennessee with your Tennessee stacks. Or even a one-off. I love all three wide receivers in this game. There's a chance Julio Jones can outscore A.J. Brown. Again, I don't have a strong take on any of them in this game. And for me, all three wide receivers are in play, but I love A.J. Brown on the slate based on matchup. Dude's a freak athlete, and that's why we go with. I'm not playing Chester Rodgers or a Des Fitzpatrick. I don't know who Chris Rowland is, no offense. Like, I'm not playing a Rowland. Cincinnati, I'm not going to try playing any of these other players here. I'm just not doing it. So, I didn't even realize Golden Tate was on Tennessee. He wasn't. He was released from the practice squad. Good career for Golden Tate, though. Hopefully he finds someone who gets another shot. So, let's keep this going. Tight ends on this slate. Right, so we're going to go tight end here. CJ Uzomah, I said to play last week. Oh, 15.4 points. Boom. Hopefully y'all played him last week. Great matchup versus the Raiders. Love it here. I think someone to get different in my lineups this week I'm going to play is Anthony Firkser. I've been saying all year that Cincinnati's been freaking terrible versus the tight end. They've been the worst in the league in terms of receiving yards allowed versus opposing running backs. We can go back here and take a look at the defensive stats versus the tight ends for the entire regular season. You can see the Bengals have been one of the worst in the league. So I absolutely think this is a way to get different. I think playing some Anthony Firkser on this slate I think is really interesting. I think Firkser's an interesting run back with your Burrow stacks. The Titans have been one of the best in the league. 5th best in the league in terms of receiving yards allowed versus opposing tight ends, and they've only allowed 3 receiving touchdowns. They've allowed 110 targets and only allowed 67 receptions. That's an interesting stat. So I don't know if I'd go Uzomah, but again, we're on a 2-game slate. We need to get different. He's just not my favorite, 5,500. I'd rather save the $300 and go to Anthony Firkser. Jeff Swaim, interesting, but I'm probably not going to play him here. He's not really targeted that much in this in the offense, so probably no one. Jeff Swaim. Firkser's the one I want to go with. He's more involved. I'm not playing Drew Sample, and that's that. Moving on. Next game is the last game on the Saturday slate, and that is, in fact, the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. And, ladies and gentlemen, Is it going to be Trey Lance season? That's the question we're going to have to ask. Garoppolo's been dealing with a thumb and shoulder injury. However, now apparently he's not listed on the he's not listed on the injury report. That's new. He's logged limited his practices with a shoulder and thumb injury. I believe Green Bay is getting back Jair Alexander. They are getting back Zadarius Smith. They're getting back Whitney Mercilus. That's a massive boost to this defense. So keep that in mind. I do not know if they'll have Jair Alexander back. Let's see if we can find out. All right, let's see. Packers have listed tackle David Bakhtiari and cornerback Jair Alexander was questionable for Saturday night's NFC Divisional playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. This is big. Receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling back as doubtful after not practicing on Wednesday or Thursday. This is big. Now that I know, we'll talk about Allen Lazard with this too. But Zadarius Smith and Whitney Mercilus have been activated. Please keep that in mind. Zadarius Smith and Whitney Mercilus. Zadarius Smith and Whitney Mercilus have both been activated from IR. They should play on Saturday. With that being said, and this came right from Wes Holdekowitz, right here from the Green Bay Packers, Packers.com digital reporter. Always got to give credit, folks. So Aaron Rodgers is the most expensive quarterback on this slate. I know, shocker, really. $8,400. Jimmy Garoppolo, $6,500. I said it before, Aaron Rodgers is the safest quarterback on the slate. Offers you the most floor. I think offers you a high ceiling. But I think more floor than ceiling. If you're looking for floor and safety and you're going to go crazy chances elsewhere, go with Rodgers. Again, my second favorite quarterback on the day. I am shooting for first place in the tournament, and I think Joe Burrow offers that. Aaron Rodgers second. Tannehill third, and Garoppolo 4. Not saying don't play Jimmy Garoppolo. I just wouldn't play him I wouldn't play him in large volumes. That's all. We go to the right. There's nothing else to talk about. Rodgers play, Garoppolo play. You can't limit yourself on a 2-game slate. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. The running back duos. The running back duo of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones, $7,500. There. Aaron Jones, $7,500 here on FanDuel. A.J. Dillon, $6,100. Both running backs are in play on this slate. I lean more Jones than Dillon. Dillon, I think, has more explosive upside than Jones. He's been used as much. Aaron Jones, do not underestimate. Firmly in play on this slate. A.J. Dillon, also firmly in play on this slate. He has more upside, but don't forget, he's more limited than Aaron Jones in terms of snaps. This is the running back that I want to talk about. Elijah Mitchell. All year, I have been saying, you attack Green Bay with running backs. However, this year, they're giving up the 6th fewest rushing yards versus opposing running backs, which is interesting. But they are a run funnel, especially with Jair Alexander's on the field. In my opinion, they're a run funnel. They've given up 10 rushing touchdowns on the year. Receiving is fine. He's not really known for that. It's fine. I mean, receiving, they're just below mid-pack in terms, like just above mid-pack in terms of receiving yards allowed versus opposing running backs, and only giving up 4 receiving touchdowns. If I'm San Francisco, I am going to slow this game down. I am going to go have I'm going to go have Garoppolo out there. excuse me, I'm going to go have... Sorry, everyone. Whew! Let's try that again. I'm going to go have... I'm going to go have Jimmy Garoppolo go out and game manage this game. All right, I'm going to go have Jimmy Garoppolo game manage this game. I'm going to slow this down to the point where it's going to be a problem for the Packers to get their offense on the field. I am going to take as much time off the clock as possible. And I think we're going to do that with Garoppolo, Elijah Mitchell, and Deebo Samuel. Oh, I just gave you a San Francisco stack. Whoopsie. No. That's exactly who I think we go with here on the slate, ladies and gentlemen. Elijah Mitchell. $7,300, I think, is someone you go with. Jeff Wilson, on the other hand, the last, not really, I mean, he saw some work in Tennessee. He got a touchdown, 13.2 FanDuel points. It's Elijah Mitchell's job. You can play some Jeff Wilson if you want. I'm not playing Patrick Taylor. If you want to take a random shot in a Kyle Juszczyk in a showdown, go for it. Never going to say no to that in a showdown slate. A JaMychal Hasty, probably not. I think it's Elijah Mitchell and then massive drop and then Jeff Wilson. And then again, if you're playing the showdown slate, I think you play some Kyle Juszczyk as well. Now, on the wide receiver side of things, Davante Adams, I know, shocker, Davante Adams, ooh, $8,700 against San Francisco, you play him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is listed as doubtful. Allen Lazard is a great play. One of the most obvious stacks on this slate is going to be Rodgers, Adams, and Lazard. I think you can get different and play Randall Cobb. He's back. He is expected to play versus the 49ers. I think you can get different and play some Randall Cobb. Now, does Randall Cobb have the same upside as Allen Lazard? No. Has Randall Cobb been used around the goal line this season for the Packers? Yes, I believe he has. Adams does not know analysis. Play Davante Adams. Play lots of Davante Adams. Play Davante Adams with confidence. Did I mention play Davante Adams yet? Because I feel like I haven't. Play Davante Adams and play Davante Adams with confidence. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings. Deebo Samuel, you play Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is someone that's interesting. If Jair Alexander is back, we could see Jair shadow Ayuk or just play one side of the field. Because we know Deebo Samuel is used all over the field. He's used everywhere. Juwan Jennings is also interesting at 5,000. I think he's in play. We saw some Travis Benjamin last week at Dallas, oddly enough. He had one target, one reception for 17 yards. I don't think he's going to be that big of a deal. I'd still rather stick with Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings last week saw 5 targets, caught 3 of them, 29 yards. I think I would play Juwan Jennings. I have no choice as anyone else. Emmanuel St. Brown, probably not playing him here because Randall Cobb is back. But if you want to take shots at Emmanuel St. Brown, again, on the main slate or on the showdown slate, I've got absolutely no problems with that whatsoever. Emmanuel St. Brown, 4,700, I got no problem if you want to play some Emmanuel St. Brown on the slate. Now, we go over the tight end position. I mentioned DeGuara. Josiah DeGuara is $4,900. Now, Mercedes Lewis, he doesn't do anything really. I think it's DeGuara who's probably taken over, again, in the absence of no Tunyon, torn ACL. DeGuara, $4,900, I think is firmly in play. Kittle, absolutely in play. Play some George Kittle. But DeGuara, Sorry about that, folks. My headset shut off again. So, DeGuara we saw has been utilized, He's not utilized a lot, but he's utilized enough where I think you could take chances on him. And I think he's absolutely and firmly in play for showdown slates. Let's talk about the defense on the slate. Packers are going to be chalk for good reason, most likely. Titans second for me, Bengals third, and the 49ers fourth. That's where I would go. You could take chances on the 49ers just on sack chances alone, especially if there's no David Bakhtiari, if he's inactive. Again, you want a defense to get you points. I think you'll probably just pay up for the Packers, the Titans, Bengals, Niners. And that over for me, again, just we're going to need to save every bit of money we can on this slate. Bengals 3,400 versus the Niners at 37. You go with the ones that you think are going to win. And the ones who will probably get a less score against. So that's that for me. All right. At this point, I'm going to have myself a drink of water. If you have any questions, again, post them in the YouTube chat. And if not, if there are no questions, if none in the YouTube chat or on the Main Event DFS Discord, what we will do is we'll head on to the Sunday main slate. Excuse me. All right, no questions. Let's move on then, shall we? Let's go on to the NFL Sunday main slate. And this one has a bonus. Let me just explain the bonus real quick. FanDuel says roster the player who scores the longest touchdown on the Sunday Million on 123 and win a share of $200,000. For full terms, visit FanDuel.com/promos. So this is interesting. I think this could be really interesting, considering all the wide receivers on this slate. Let's get in. Why is there a tutorial? All right, let's get into it. This is going to be an amazing day of football. I'm looking more forward to these Sunday games than I am the Saturday games. The Los Angeles Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Tampa Bay Bucs. Tom Brady, the GOAT. $7,800. So we got Matthew Stafford versus Tom Brady. Brady 7,800. Stafford 74. You're playing both in bunches. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. You play every freaking quarterback on this slate. Do not fade any quarterback. That is my expert analysis. I mean, why would you fade a quarterback on this slate? You know what I mean? You got Brady in a high-scoring game. Stafford, high-scoring game. The highest-scoring game on the entire slate is Buffalo or Kansas City. Again, I will go over all the stuff with you. Here we go. Excuse me. Rams at Tampa. 47.5 over-under. Tampa's favored by 3. Buffalo or Kansas City. 54 over-under. Kansas City's favored by 1.5. Like, come on, people. Let's do it. Let's play all 4 quarterbacks. Hashtag analysis. And to be honest, I don't know if I have a favorite. My favorite game on the entire weekend is Buffalo and Kansas City for obvious reasons. Both of these teams went out and crushed their opponents. Last week, Buffalo crushed the Patriots and Kansas City crushed the Steelers. With all due respect to the other teams, I am sorry, but with all due respect, you're playing that game. That's the game we stack. In my opinion, we're stacking that game. Now, we take a look real quick. All right. Brady, what does Tampa have to do to keep control of the game? We talked just about game scenarios. The Bucs have to go hard after a better defense. The Rams can attack Tampa's secondary, which is still suspect. Again, Tampa, one of the better run defenses in the NFL. One of the best. Top 3. Not a great secondary. Rams have Jalen Ramsey. Good secondary. Good defensive line. If it's a battle of the defenses, I'm giving it to the Rams. So I think for me, Brady the Bucs are gonna get up, run the ball, get to Fournette, and keep control of the game. I think Stafford's gonna have to prove he belongs. What do I mean by that? Stafford needs to show he can keep the ball, not turn the freaking ball over, and beat Brady the Bucs. Prior to the playoffs, when everyone was doing their playoff brackets, I said I had Buffalo versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. Nothing's changed about that for me. I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. And that could be changing. I might be taking the Bills. But I think this is the Rams' year. You've got Donald and Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey, let alone all the other good, solid players they have on defense. And then you've got Stafford, the wide receiver of the year. Or you can argue he should be top 3 in MVP voting in Cooper Kupp. Beckham, who's having a resurgence on the Rams. Van Jefferson, who can hit the top of a defense. If you want to get contrarian on this slate, stack this game. And hope the defenses on the other game take over, and this game is the higher scoring game. Use the game theory standpoint on this, all right? You play, again, playoff for quarterbacks. Of the two, I think Stafford has more of a chance, game script-wise, to throw the ball more than Tom does. So again, I think Stafford has more of a chance to throw the ball and pay off more than Brady has to throw the ball and pay off in terms of price tags and where you're going on this slate. And Stafford's the cheapest of the 4 of them. I have not made any lineups for this slate yet. But again, all 4 quarterbacks are in play on this slate. Stafford, between Brady and Stafford, I prefer Stafford to Brady. Again, game script-wise. I think Stafford is going to have to throw more, chance to put up more fantasy points than Brady does. Leonard Fournette is still listed on here on IR. However, it is expected that he's going to be activated off IR and he's expected to play against the Rams. We're playing Leonard Fournette. Why are we playing Fournette? Because Fournette has been somewhat matchup-proof this year. Better running back than Giovanni Bernard. Better running back than Keyshawn Vaughn. That's what we're doing here on the slate. Play Fournette. Especially if you're going to play Brady. But I don't mind Fournette as a one-off. This is not the game I probably want to get my running backs from. Cam Akers is extremely underpriced on this, like $5,700. Let's try that again. Cam Akers is extremely underpriced on this slate at $5,700. What we saw last week was Cam Akers continuing to get more involved. So we take a look at Cam Akers' game log. 17 rushing attempts, 55 yards, had 2 targets for 1 reception for 40 yards. 10 FanDuel points. Sony Michel last week. 13 rushing attempts, 58 rushing yards. It was the Cam Akers show. Cam Akers is getting more and more involved. I expected Cam Akers to get more work than Sony Michel. And Cam Akers just looked like he never had an injury. He looked like the explosive Cam Akers we saw last year. Cam Akers, $5,700. Phenomenal play on this slate. I did just realize I never gave you all my core value GPP and favorite stack from the Saturday slate. My apologies. Let's go back to the Saturday slate here real quick. Core, Derrick Henry. In terms of value, Josiah DeGuara, And Ferkser. GPP, AJ Brown, Debo Samuel. Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, obviously go without saying. Favorite stack? Rodgers, Adams, Lazard. I know. If you want a different stack, Burrow, Chase, Boyd. And that'll take care of the Saturday slate. Getting back here into the Rams at Tampa. I have no interest in Giovanni Bernard. I have no interest in Keyshawn Vaughn. If you want to play some Giovanni Bernard, you most certainly can. Look, last week, 13 rushing attempts, 44 yards on a touchdown, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 39 yards. You can play some Gio. I have no interest in Keyshawn Vaughn this week with Leonard Fournette back. Last week, 17 rushing attempts for 53 yards on a touchdown and 2 targets, 2 receptions. We know Giovanni Bernard's a pass-catching running back. So, I can't play Keyshawn Vaughn this week. If you want to play some sprinkles of Keyshawn Vaughn, that's fine. With Fournette back, he's going to be the bell cow with Bernard mixed in. Maybe you see some trick plays in there, a couple plays with Vaughn, but I have no interest in playing Vaughn this week. Cam Akers to me is firmly in play. I don't think I have an interest in starting Michelle, but I have no problem taking chances on starting Michelle this week. Ronald Jones is still out. Henderson is still out. I'm not playing Le'Veon Bell. And I'm not playing Jake Funk. So I would just stick to the main running backs there. In terms of the wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, $9,500. You're playing Cooper Kupp on the slate. You're probably playing lots of Cooper Kupp. Same thing with Mike Evans. He's the number 1 wide receiver. He's probably going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. If you do not want to play Mike Evans, I understand because of the Jalen Ramsey shadow. Odell Beckham at $6,500. I tweeted last week. I was texting CJ Kaltenbach. Again, for those of you that don't know, I used to work for CJ for 2 years when he ran Arbor Pro. I was one of his NFL DFS analysts there. So CJ mentioned something about, he tweeted something about a touchdown. I said, so not Odell Beckham? And I'm like, I don't know. I just was like, I could see Odell here. And it was more of a betting thing, nothing to do DFS wise, just like different betting lines and whatnot. So, I mean, who scores the first touchdown? Beckham did last week. You know, and that's fine. CJ had some awesome takes, awesome bets, and awesome calls. Again, if you're interested in CJ's data, highly recommend it. Go check out Elite Fantasy, and you can follow CJ on Twitter as well. I believe he's at the Siege DFS. So shout out to my boy CJ. Odell Beckham again, $6,500. Love him on this slate. I think he's been more involved. I'm not scared of the Tampa defense. I think Odell. I can't even want to say this, but in terms of ranking the Rams wide receivers, I'd put Odell Beckham 1, Kupp 2, Van Jefferson 3. I know it's crazy to say. I just think this is a big Beckham game. I really do. I think this is a big Odell Beckham game. Now look, you're playing Kupp, you're playing Beckham. What do we do with Van Jefferson? Van Jefferson, for whatever reason, never been given the shot as the quote-unquote the guy on this slate. Last week had 1 target, 1 reception, but it was 41 receiving yards. This guy can take the top off of a defense. And I think that's going to come into play here versus the Bucs. Now, speaking of the Bucs, Mike Evans probably going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, which leaves us with who? Cyril Grayson, listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. So, we'll see if Cyril Grayson plays. Tyler Johnson hasn't exactly done anything. So we're back in this weird mix of Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, and Jalen Darden, who wasn't even involved last week. You know, Tyler Johnson, I think, is probably the next bet. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 30 receiving yards. Then again, last week against the Eagles, they didn't really have to do much because it was the Mike Evans show. Against the Rams, they have to get creative. If Cyril Grayson is back, I'm playing Grayson. I'm going to take the chance on Cyril Grayson. He's shown to be involved. He can be explosive. I'll take the chance on Cyril Grayson at $5,200. Rashad Perryman is out with a hip injury. So I'd rank them. I'd still go Evans 1 because Evans is a freak wide receiver. So I'd still go Evans 1, but I'd go Grayson 2, Tyler Johnson 3, Scotty Miller 4, and Darden 5. I think Darden has more upside than Scotty Miller, so I would just keep that in mind as well. I have no interest in playing Ben Skowronek, or Skowronek, however you want to pronounce it. I have no interest in playing him on this slate. Stick to the main three, Los Angeles Rams wide receivers. Gronkowski and Higbee. You play both of them on this slate. Gronk at $7,100, I think, is an interesting pivot off Evans. Tyler Higbee against the Bucks, firmly in play. Keep in mind, you're going against the Tampa linebackers, so just keep that in mind. But I like them both. I like Gronk, I like Higbee, both are firmly in play. Cam Brate, I think, is interesting. Always a threat for a touchdown. Low owned, 3 targets, 3 targets, 3 targets, 4 targets, 4 targets, 4 targets. Firmly in play. Excuse me, I'm not playing OJ Howard. Just, excuse me, he hasn't seen the volume. Hasn't seen the volume, hasn't seen the workload. Blanton, I'm not playing Blanton. Not involved. I mean, when was the last time he was involved? Blanton was, last time he was involved was versus Seattle on December 21st. And had 1 target for 0 receptions. It's a Tyler Higbee show. I mean, you can play Blanton if you want. There's Bryson Hopkins. 1 target. 1 target. If you're playing Tyler Higbee obviously is mainly involved. We know Tyler Higbee has a ceiling, but I don't mind taking some shots on a Kendall Blanton, honestly. But I mean like 5%, max of 10 in non-Tyler Higbee lineups. I don't mind taking some shots here on Blanton on the slate. Especially if you play in a showdown slate that's just the Rams and Bucks. Alright. Let's get into it. The NFL have saved the best game in the divisional round for last. The Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. This game is currently sitting at, let me refresh the odds. I've said a couple times tonight. This game is currently sitting at a 54 over-under with Kansas City favored by 1.5. The other games, 47.5, 47, 47.5. This is sitting at 54. A 54 over-under, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes play both. Hashtag analysis. No, I don't have a favorite. Okay. I played Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Maybe. Pick a game script. I think Mahomes has to do more throwing than Allen does, but Allen's more of a rushing upside. In terms of getting more of a threat for a rushing touchdown as much as more of Mahomes. I don't know what to do! Play both! I prefer Allen to Mahomes. Mahomes is more upside. Play both. I haven't decided on one quarterback yet. I'd probably go Mahomes, but I prefer Allen. I don't know. I just think game script wise, Mahomes is going to have to throw more. No Tre'Davious White, I think, makes a huge difference. I'd say Mahomes. But again, Allen and Mahomes both firmly in play. But I had to pick one of the two. I'd pick Mahomes over Allen. The more I think about it. Running backs, Devin freaking Singletary. $7,200. Why the F is Jerick McKinnon $6,000? Congrats, he took over for Williams last week who had a toe injury. He's clearly surpassed Derek Gore on the depth chart. I'd still stick with Clyde. Clyde has no injury designation. Clyde is cheaper than McKinnon. Play Clyde. Though I don't mind taking shots on Jerick McKinnon, especially if McKinnon's going to be used more than Clyde. I think that's going to save lives. I'll say this. I'll probably have more McKinnon than Clyde, but don't forget Clyde's the starter, not McKinnon. Devin Singletary, you play him. Only time I would play Moss or Breida, depending which one is inactive, I play Moss over Breida, is in a showdown. In the Sunday night showdown, I'd play them both. I'd play one of them. Whichever one is not inactive. That's it. I'm not playing them on the main slate, most likely. I'm just not doing it. There are plenty of other good players to play. Did I mention it? You play Devin Singletary. I'm probably going to have more McKinnon than Hilaire the more I think about it. The way they used him last week. My gut's just saying it's more McKinnon than Clyde. Especially if they want to use Clyde more going further into the playoffs. So I'll probably have more McKinnon than Clyde, but they'll probably be closer in terms of ownership exposure. Again, if I'm playing a 20 max. Devin Singletary. Play Devin Singletary. At $7,200. Again, so pricing, Devin Singletary, $7,200. Jerick McKinnon is $6,000. Clyde is $5,700. Darrell Williams is questionable with a toe injury, $5,500. Derek Gore, $4,700. Zach Moss, $4,700. And Matt Breida is $4,600. Wide receivers. Here we go, chat. Here we go, chat. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs. Tyreek Hill, $8,200. Stephon Diggs, $7,800. Both in play. Play both. Play lots of both. Byron Pringle, $5,700. Firmly in play. Let's go skip. We'll go again like we've been doing, team by team. Stephon Diggs, you're playing. Emmanuel Sanders, after what we saw last week, we take a look real quick again at the game log. Emmanuel Sanders had 3 targets, 2 receptions for 36 yards of a touchdown. Gabriel Davis, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 41 yards of a touchdown. Doesn't help. Davis has more upside than Sanders does. Sanders is right back in the same role. Cole Beasley, last week, 1 target, 1 reception, 19 yards. They didn't even do anything last week because it was the freaking Allen and Diggs show. And Devin Singletary, of course. If I'm ranking them, it's Diggs, Sanders, Davis, Beasley. On the Kansas City side of things, Hill, Pringle, and Hardman. I'm not going to not play Hardman on this slate. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 43 receiving yards. Had a fumble. Mecole Hardman, especially play Mecole Hardman on this slate if you're playing the showdown slate. Now, the one more receiver we need to talk about is Isaiah McKenzie. Last week versus New England, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 45 receiving yards. He was involved. Showdown slates? I take chances on Isaiah McKenzie. 20 maxes? I take chances on Isaiah McKenzie. 3 max? I don't mind one lineup with Isaiah McKenzie. Thank you, Ty. Appreciate that. Hope you win some money this week in NFL. Appreciate that and appreciate the like. Here we go, chat. I have no one else I'm interested again. I'm not playing Josh Gordon. Last week, wasn't even involved. Demarcus Robinson, $5,100. Showdown, I have no problem with. The more I think about it, I actually prefer Robinson to Hardman. I don't mind if you want to play Robinson in your Kansas City stacks or Mecole Hardman. I just wish Mecole Hardman was more involved. Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, we'll play some Demarcus Robinson this week, especially in Showdown. It's just a matter. So I'll re-rank my Kansas City receivers: Tyreek Hill, Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman. But absolutely play Hardman as well. It's a $200 difference. Mecole Hardman's $5,300. Demarcus Robinson, $5,100. Let's go with that. Again, I'd play Isaiah McKenzie as well. I don't know if I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd actually play Isaiah McKenzie over Cole Beasley. So yeah, I said it. Finishing this up here with the tight ends. Travis Kelce, Dawson Knox, you play both of them. Nothing else to say. Showdown-wise, if you want to take a chance on a Tommy Sweeney, I'm fine with that. I would not go more than 5 or 10%. If you want to take a chance on a Noah Gray, a Blake Bell, showdown only. It's Travis Kelce and Dawson Knox. You play both. Play lots of both. We see Travis Kelce and Dawson Knox used heavily in their respective offenses. Keep going, and I'd say keep going and play both of them and keep them both in your player pools. Going over now. Nothing else I want to talk about now. Let's talk about the defenses here on this slate, ladies and gentlemen. The defenses here on the slate. No, not the short list, the full list. The Bucks are 45. The Tampa Bay Bucks are $4,500. The Rams at $4,300. The Chiefs at $3,700. And the Chiefs are at $3,700 and the Bills are at $3,500. Why are they so cheap? Very simple. Again, it's supposed to be the highest over in the game on the entire slate. So the chances of these defenses paying off are probably not there. I'd go Rams 1, Bucks 2, Bills 3, Kansas City 4. I said it. So that's that. Let's get over it. Let's get to it. Not to get over it. Let's get not get over it. Let's get to it. Core value GPP and favorite stack segment for the Sunday slate. Core Odell Beckham Jr. I said it. GPP Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Demarcus Robinson, Gabe Davis, Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders again for me over Davis. Value on this slate: Demarcus Robinson, Isaiah McKenzie, Tyler Johnson. GPP, sorry I'm bouncing all around. Devin Singletary, Cam Akers, Jerick McKinnon. Favorite stack: Matt Stafford, Cam Akers, Odell Beckham Jr., Cooper Kupp. Stafford, Akers, Beckham. I'd pivot to Beckham over Kupp. Kupp's going to be high on, but Kupp's a monster. Play Kupp. I'm playing Akers, though. 100%. Now, any questions? Pipe up in chat. If not, we're going to head out of here. And we're going to be under an hour. How about that? Let's go, chat. All right, no questions. Thank you all for tuning in to this NFL DFS Divisional Round live stream. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at AdamWX21 or drop your questions over in the Main Event DFS Discord. Good luck, win some money this week, and I will see you all next week for the Conference Championships. Latest, peoples.